right, hello. Oh, hey, Marison. Tuned in before I was on the stream. Hope you're doing well. It's good to see you. I hope things have been going okay with you. Sorry, the sun is really bright here. Say that as if it's a bad thing. It's a good thing. All right. Wasn't here for a while, but here I am. Yeah, good to see you. All right, what am I working on today? That is a question I have, and I currently don't have an answer. All right, let's see. Actually, I kind of have an answer. Let's see what's all going on here. Let's see. What's a good thing to work on? Well, for one, probably do a little bit of design work with some of these, all these black squares here I have to replace with proper diagrams for this pattern I'm working on. So I might do that. In fact, let's see if I can open up this and see what code I can get going here. I think audio's good, right? It looks like you can hear me. Things look okay. Let's see here. Oop, wrong. Let's see here. Oop. Cool. Anyone tuned in right now, feel free to pop in the chat and talk, ask me questions, talk about, code and projects you're working on, that kind of thing. It's always fun to engage. No pressure, of course, but I'm happy to talk as I do a little bit of work. And yeah. All right, so what's going on here? This whole thing is a Clojure script project with hot code reloading, so I can edit all these diagrams and stuff. This is for a quilt pattern, so that's why it's like a rabbit and stuff like that. But for example, let's see here. I could move the circle. If I change the code here, wait for it to recompile, then it shifts it back over, right? So the code compiles and everything happens real time or close to real time. So what I'm doing is just making this document. I want to just work on a few of the figures here and there. Oh, someone behind a cloud and I can see a little bit better. All right, let's have a little peek at this. Figure 1 here. Just trying to think about, well, let's not deliberate too much on this. Let's do center applique. Oh, I've got to do oh, that didn't work. There we go. Center applique pieces. Right, so what does that mean? Nothing too crazy. This is 8 by 8. Translate it. Oh, I gotta translate it. Actually, let's do this differently. Let's do group it. Yes, in this case, this is gonna work fine. Oop. Okay, so I've got a rectangle. I'm popping the code all over the place. I'm trying to write it in a readable way, and it's a little hard to decide the proper form sometimes. Okay, so all right, so here, right, I've got this rectangle. I'm gonna rotate it 45 degrees. Then I'm gonna SVG style it with I noticed something. Let's see here. Hey, Defornica, can you send those code fragments to a REPL directly from the org file? That's a great question, and the answer is yes. I can show you for a second here. So, let's see, what's a good example? This is a silly name, but you know, hello world. So if I do meta enter, it I already had this REPL running. It was just in I just closed the buffer window. So here is the REPL that's connected to this code. Actually, and I can show you how I actually launch it in just a second, but the answer is simply yes. So here I defined hi and pushed it into the REPL, and now I can run hi, right? And then it prints right in the REPL there. So I can do, you can do individual forms, but you can also do, if I wanted to run it with my own name, oh, that's whatever. I can go to the top of the block here and put the whole block into the, I think that worked. Maybe I messed it up. Oh, of course, I'm not trying to define Atom. I'm trying to run hi. There we go. So you can do independent forms and you can do whole code blocks at once. There are ways to configure your environment a little bit differently, that you can do things slightly differently again, but that's how I like to work. I like to push little snippets to the REPL one at a time. And the REPL is just a regular REPL. So I can load file, I could load source files directly and all of that. And it all works. I can also do, oops. So I don't know how familiar you are with org stuff in general, right? You could run Python code. See if I remember how this works. And it'll print results. Cool, thanks for the explanation. Yeah, you got it, that makes sense. So the Python code I run is not connected to the REPL. Obviously, it's running in its own. It invokes an interpreter and interprets the snippet and spits it back. Similarly, I can do the same thing with CLJ. This runs on a Lumo CLJ backend. You use org, but only as a to-do manager. Yeah, fair enough. The to-do aspects of it, I personally, I keep thinking I want to get way better at managing my to-do lists and stuff like that. And I keep thinking it because it's something I probably need to do. And I want to get good at org mode, or better than I do. I use the basic to-do lists, but I don't know, I just keep I just keep not becoming an expert in it. Like I don't practice using it. But it is powerful, and it's just me. I haven't built a good habit around it. But so the little trick to getting this to work is the whole, ooh, this is hard to read, but the org file is inside a project folder that contains a bunch of things in it. So for Clojure, it contains this deps.eden file. So when I run the Cider REPL, Cider is the Emacs thing that connects to your Clojure projects. It looks for the Eden file in that folder structure. If there is no Eden file, I think it could still launch and connect to it, but point is, it's not like you just open a completely empty org file and you automatically get Clojure out of it. There's a little bit of prep work you have to do. And I built all of that into my Emacs and my templates and stuff like that. So it's not like you get it completely for free. So there is a little bit of work required, but I happen to really like it and it works nicely. Oh, the other thing is, here I have all of these source blocks do what's called a tangle here. And what tangling is, anytime I save the org file, it looks through every single code block. And if it says tangle, then it has a file here. It will save that code block into that particular file. So if I open that source fp main, it'll tangle, so this is the first code block it encounters and it pastes it in there. Then the next code block is this. And so if I make a change here, it tangles to the source file. And so the REPL is it's more like it's looking at the source file. And especially the fig wheel is not looking at the org file, it's looking at the source file, right? So it spit out an error because the source file itself changed, not because the org file changed, if that makes sense. So here, for example, if I do this, if I break the tangle syntax, you'll see this whole block disappear because it's not being tangled into the source at all. So I use the org files because I can write notes to myself. I can start writing prose and documentation in there. And I can, as I'm building something up, I can rearrange code all the time. And I can even, so when I first start writing, I put everything into a main file. And depending on the project, if it's an actual library and stuff, the idea is eventually you go, okay, well, it turns out I need these functions to be in vector help.cljs, and this one is in main, or this one's in math, right? And you can structure your project after you kind of know where functions have to go, and you get a lot of you get a lot of, in my opinion, powerful code reorganization tools right out of the gate there. Sort of a pre-processing step to go from org to CLJS. Yeah, you can kind of think of it like that. And so I use it for Clojure script, but you can tangle any code block. So let's do, right, I could do Python, and I could tangle this to example.py. Oops. If I save this, oh, I wrecked my code, but ignore that. I could go to the folder that's in, which one is it? Here, and example.py is right in there. I don't know if you can see that. I'm in the first point, I'm in this projects folder right now, and example.py exists here. So if I remove example.py, list, it's not there, save this, right? Then it does tangle it, it generates those files, right? So it pre-processes, but it is not in any way specific to Clojure or ClojureScript is what I'm trying to say. You can use this kind of approach for, in theory, any programming language you want, which I happen to really like. Because sometimes you know, for whatever reason, you have different languages. Let's say you want to write a build script, but you like scripting in Python, but you want to write a program in Rust or in Go or, you know, what have you, right? You can mix and match a little bit and keep your source stuff in a nice org file. It's, in my opinion, a really fun way to work. I'm pretty sure not everyone will like it, but it's something I've grown used to and I like it a lot. All right, now I have to see what I messed up. So the other interesting thing that's happening here, so anytime I save this file, I have a thing called Figwheel that's also looking for source code changes, and that hot reloads the browser. That is different than the org mode stuff that I'm talking about. Like, you can do the Figwheel hot code reloading without using Emacs at all. Like, I could change the files without an org mode file and it would work exactly the same. So they're these kind of different independent things. Yeah, you know Figwheel. Okay, good. Yeah, if I'm over explaining, I do apologize. It's not because I think anyone is silly. It's just, or silly. It's not that I think anyone is dumb. It's that I don't know what background knowledge people come in with. So apologies if I'm explaining stuff that you already know. Might be useful for anyone else listening, perchance. So maybe it's not a total waste of time. This is not, by the way, what I'm using Figwheel for right here. Like, I'm not making a quote unquote proper app. I'm making I call it a design doc, basically. So it's Hiccup. It's basically an HTML file with SVG drawings plunked in there. This is a quilt pattern. I don't design the quilts, but I make the patterns and turn them into PDFs for nice documentation. I'm just using Figwheel to get a sort of dynamic feedback loop of the document, so I don't have to compile the doc as I'm building it. I could just save it and see the changes. So this is not an app per se. It's more of a interactive document kind of thing, and not even interactive. It's just a fun way to do programmatic design, I guess, if that makes sense. All right, enough dilly-dallying. I gotta fix this now. And you know what? While I'm here, I have this bad habit of leaving a bunch of REPLs and projects open at once. I don't know if you're familiar with that particular issue, but there we go. So I just switched the screens around here. So this is still the same org file, and this is the REPL that is tied to it. It's just maybe easier to focus in the center of the screen. Yeah, so if there's anything else workflow related that doesn't make sense to you, feel free to ask, and I'll do my best to explain stuff. Don't be shy with the questions. Do you use so if you, I don't know if you write your own Clojure stuff at all. If you do you use Emacs for it, or do you use something else like IntelliJ with Cursive, or I don't know. A lot of people use different tooling, right? I mean, it all ends up writing code, so it doesn't matter what you use. Okay. Where was I? Step uno. All right. I didn't break the code, I just didn't finish writing it, so it complains, which makes sense. Okay, so here I was writing, oh yeah, that's right, I need to create the class here. And the reason I was hesitating is because I didn't know this is the name of the fabric that's used, and I don't know the names of these. I don't know how fabric designers ever come up with like unique names for colors and stuff. Because they're all a little, they're kind of funny, funny sounding names sometimes. So it seems a little ridiculous. So this is the class which I built in CSS earlier, so that exists. And you know what? I may as well. I don't need to do it this way. I can do it like this. I think, come on, my shift key is breaking. Okay, so it should build, okay, we've got, I mean, it's not visible, but we've got the right kind of thing going on here, which is nice. Let's go 200 maybe. All right, we'll figure it out. Right, so I made a rectangle, 8 by 8, rotate it 45 degrees, and now I can finish up the rest of this. I can pull into the group here the rabbit piece. Oh, I need to thread it through some styling. It's gonna be dove white. So I'm wondering if I should change the CSS class style names to A, B, C, D, and all of that, but technically that doesn't make sense. I'll worry about that later. I'm gonna leave it like this. That's that. B for the circle. Meadow slate. Oh, I also didn't, this isn't correct. There we go. Do. I forgot, I want to do this. Translate it 5 by 5. Translate the whole group. Here, what was it again? Meadow slate. Line. All right, let's see if that actually looks like, oop. What have I done? Yeah. Nope. Yep. Maybe. Okay, there we go. So that's how I use SVG to make these different drawings. And so the actual translation number I have to do here is, what's it gonna be? I think it's 4 times root 2. Square root 2. Yeah, that seems right. 5.657 is gonna be fine. I don't need it to be exact, but that should put the corners right on the point there. So if I make this 5.7, yeah, that looks pretty good. Oop. So there's little things about my workflow here that I want to build some more automatic or cooler tools with over time. Like, so this is not a proper app, right? I can't interact with the actual document here. I can just, it's basically just a view, and the code, I change it and it re-renders. It would be really, really cool if all of the figures and all of the blocks here, I could like click and edit them and make something that and this I don't know how I would execute, but basically you have the state shared between the code and the render. So you get, if you change the render side, if you change something in the browser, it updates the code, and if you update the code, it changes the browser. So it's a two-way instead of a one-way link. I think that's a lot harder than it sounds, but it sounds really cool. So it'd be fun to build something like that. The first step to something like that I could make something that does not expose the code to you. So you launch an empty thing here and you treat it like a code notebook kind of thing. So you add text sections, and then you add HTML sections, and you add code sections and stuff like that, and it just renders as if it's a notebook. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm not ready to work on that kind of stuff anyway, so let's not try to pretend I know exactly how I would do it. So that is the first little bit, and this is the quilt that's being designed. Well, the quilt has already been designed. The document I'm producing is to provide instructions for making this quilt yourself. That's the idea. And so the thing I just finished up is this square right in the middle. And yeah. Let's see if there's any other low-hanging fruit on this one. Yeah, I'm just thinking about how to approach this. All right, I'll do one more. I'll do the step 2, figure 1, and then I'll probably move on to messing around with some other stuff because I'm a little bored of this project right now. But I have to finish it, so maybe it is good to just keep plugging away at it. I don't know. I'll close that for now. Oh, Babashka, I'm using that for something else. Oh boy. It's actually getting kind of warm in here. Okay, let's have a little look at this next bit here. Oh yeah. So this is another thing I want to build a thing to automate this later, but there's some. Oh, I just had an idea. Okay. I'm gonna change tack for a minute here. Okay. Let's see, how should I go about this? So I have a Uh-oh. There we go. Okay. Let's make a whole new thing here. We'll call it scripting. This is a proto script for improving conversions. No, this is a proto script for taking HTML data and automatically converting it to Eden hiccup format to more rapidly produce the finished doc. The base doc conversion is currently like this. You start with a pattern.pages file. It gets converted to pattern.docx. Done manually by me, but could be requirement input from customer. Not a big deal. Pattern.docx. Then this is done with, if I could type, life would be good. There we go. Okay, so this one is done. I don't know why I don't know why I feel compelled to put parentheticals all over the place. Maybe I've been writing Lisps too long now. Writing too much closure. Everything feels like you need to put it in parens. But it isn't true. You don't need to do it all the time. Ugh, the sun. It's in my eyes. Done using pandoc. Right, so this turns into pattern.html. And now at this point, I produce pattern.cljs, and then that gets turned into pattern.pdf. So that's the pipeline. So the big manual steps are, well, everything right now. There's a lot of manual work, which is, it's fine. It makes for good diagrams. It makes for a good editing cycle, but it takes a lot of time. So what I would love is to shrink it down and automate bits and pieces that are easy to automate and save a lot of time. That's a good way to go. So here, I realized something as well. This is unrelated, but I have to punch myself in so that I know how much time I've been working on things. It's important to track your time if your time is used on important projects. There we go. Right, so this pattern.html, completely manual process to create .cljs file. Right, so that needs to be, or that can potentially be improved. So pattern.pdf, done using Firefox print to PDF. Oh, and then I also have here I also have plus front cover .pdf plus back cover, and those all come together. Do I want to make this stick drawing? I may as well. I'm here already. Why not? This looks cool. This ASCII diagram. There's no point to it. It's just fun. Right. So all of that goes to final output PDF. Boom, done. Okay, so the reason that's added in here is because PDFs manually generated, print to PDF, and Inkscape manual cover edits. PDFs merged with a command one-liner, and then you get the final output. So there's some things that are obvious automation targets. Front and back cover components that front and back cover functions in CLJ, taking in title, picture, URL, other necessary data. So you can semi-automate that. You can also PDF merge can be, well, it's already kind of automatic. Obvious automation targets are those, and the extract hookup from HTML. Hopefully, generate PDF automatically with headless Firefox or Chrome. Don't know. So the idea would be, I want to get this down to, basically, I want to get the process down to me only manually creating specific figures. Even that eventually will have tooling for users to pre-make a lot of their diagrams. But today, let's start with, let's see what I can do about what do I call it? HTML to Eden. Start with Babashka script, maybe. All right, so let's start there. So let's make the, how does this work again? User environment, user bin environment BB. And we're gonna tangle this into I don't know what to call this. H to E, CLJC, sure. I don't know. Okay, so let's begin with some kind of basis for running this. Let's see if I actually wrote this properly. Okay. Oh, this has no namespace yet, but that's fine for now. Let's run with, well, let's make it executable just to see if this will work. Oh, did I not tangle it? I think I have to do this. Am I losing my mind here a little bit? Oh. that should work now. Yeah, right? I also think this is wrong. Shouldn't it be like that? I can never remember this. I think that's it. I don't know. Let's see if that worked. Remove example. HTE, is it in there? Yes, it is. All right, chmod executable, and let's run it. And it should just print 4. Bad interpreter. Of course it is. I always forget this. I'm not a pro with remembering things apparently. Well, let's have a look at. I don't need to open that one. I can open. Here's another script. Okay, /user. I almost had it. It was close. There we go. Okay. So what I've just done here is get the so this is tangling into a script file hte.cljc. I made it executable and then I ran it, and so my terminal looks for the program bb to interpret the code and then run that in that and then execute it in the terminal. bb is babashka. It's a REPL for Clojure that runs bash basically. You can use Clojure code to script. It's really quite amazing. It does not use, or it's built on the simple Clojure interpreter, so it doesn't use a JVM, I think, or maybe I forget exactly, but I'm pretty sure it's compiled with GraalVM to a native image, so I'm not sure if that counts as using a JVM or if that's something different. But all that aside, it's really quite useful for scripting things, and I like it quite a bit. So I've been just messing around with creating some scripts to help different parts of my workflow, and I've been having a lot of fun with it lately. This is another one called Pencil that I'm in the progress of cleaning up, but it's really quite useful. I might show that a little later. I want to make a YouTube video out of it, but who knows, that might be helpful anyway. So blah blah blah. I want to take, oh come on, I don't need any of that. 1 second. Right, so, oops, I want to keep that up there. Right, so, what am I doing? I saw, so the creator of Babashka, by the way, is Michiel. I believe he's Dutch. Michiel is a Dutch sounding name anyway. Babashka here. Bork Dude is the creator of this. I want to see his profile, please. Yeah, Michiel Borkent. He works on some really useful projects, CLJ Condo, Babashka, and SCI. Great projects, really useful. So I've just been starting to get into it. But anyway, I saw a snippet he had posted on his Twitter account at one point. So I'm getting some of this from that little thing, that little Twitter post. I'm just getting this little bit here. So what you can do is run these things called pods. Bootleg to kind of get pre-compiled code chunks into your running program, and then you can use the functionality from different libraries. Basically, you can think it's almost like Python import statements at the top, kinda. Anyway, so here I'm just loading this one called bootleg, and then you can use bootleg to interpret HTML strings. So what I'm going to do is just make a little example. Actually, let's just check that it'll actually, let's do it in the Babashka REPL in my terminal for a second. So let's just copy, oop, I did that wrong. Copy this. Right, so doing that should let me do let's get rid of that as well for the time being. Okay. Oh, and it's not pencil, let's just do HTE. Right, if I paste that in there, so now I should be able to run BL, and I forget the name of it, convert to, yeah, convert to, let's take a paragraph, this is HTML, let's just make sure that it's working the way I want here. And I want to convert it to hiccup. There we go. So I get hiccup data structures out of that right away. So my whole idea is extremely simple. Just make this script basically take, let's do def in main here. It takes in first, no, sorry, file, and it ignores the other arguments. And when I run it, I want to run it with command line args. Okay, and now to actually build a bit of a main file here, all I need to do is, let's thread first the file name through slurp. I think I can run it like that. And then bl/convert to hiccup. Okay, save that. That should, if I chmod +x, if I run HTE, come on, there we go, on what is this file called again? It should, okay, well, didn't totally work, but I am, I'm gonna take a quick break, gotta take care of something. I will be right back. Give me probably 2-3 minutes, won't be long. All right. Oh. Oh man, stretching is so nice. I love it. I love it. Where was I? Oh yes. This this doesn't mean anything to me. Let's have a little peek at what that HTML file looks like. Oops, what did I do? Let's open it up. Customer data. It's not like sensitive customer data. It's like the customer said, "Hey, here's the file I need you to work on and convert." So it's not like private data. It's not like banking information. It's nothing like that. It's it's just the project files. So never fear, I'm not breaking the confidence of my clients. Okay, so I am interesting. I'm not sure what's going on here. I kind of thought it would actually work, but apparently not yet. Okay, so it does pull the string in. It is a string, right? Oop. That's not what I meant to do. Da-da-da. Da-da-do. Ba-da-bum. Ba-da-dum. Ba-da-dum. Huh. That's a little weird to me. What's going on? I wonder if it's maybe I have to do this. Oh, I think I might need to require another thing here. Closure dot string as st string slash split lines, and then I'll just take the first, just cause I want to try it on a small subset first. Yeah, okay, so it's taking the first. That should just be, yeah, that's just this. Nice and easy. Then here, let's try this now. Okay, so if I do map v, I don't want first anymore. I want all of this. Thread last now. Map v this whole thing. Convert to hiccup. Let's try that. what I expect is, I don't need to map v that, I could just do a map. Oh, I might need to map v it. I don't know that it'll, well, let's see what happens. Okay, so it made a lazy sequence of, well, it's not lazy in this case, it evaluated it all. It made a sequence of every one of these lines is basically a paragraph, and it turned that into a sequence of, it's a huge messy sequence, but a sequence nonetheless of hiccup data structures. So the idea is I kind of want to use this to make a pre-processed pipeline that gives me data to work with that I can then kind of maybe build some heuristics around to detect. This might be a little harder, but this is useful to me somehow, but I don't know how yet. Is really what I'm what I'm thinking here at the moment. So what's a clever thing to do? Just trying to it might be cool to let's see if I could come up with a strategy for parsing or like extracting some information about this. Before I do that, let me codify a little function here. Oops. There we go. Kill it anyway, I don't need it. I have a yeah, I didn't save anything. I hope I didn't save anything. All right. I have here this one-liner that I want to codify for a minute. Oops. Come on. There we go. Okay. Pandoc. Actually, can I run pandoc and it spits to standard out? I wonder. Let's try that. Let's cd into customer data. Okay, so I've got okay. If I run pandoc, oh, it won't. Let's try it. Let's do if file is a dash . I didn't know Pandoc was a Haskell library. That's cool. Output goes to standard out by default, so I want maybe help can help me out. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. -T is the format specification, so I want it to be two. I assume HTML is a. Here we go. Specifying formats. Man, I'm getting the same information. Like I'm just hopping around and looking like a fool sometimes. Oops. Okay. So it looks like I could just do. What's F? Format from. Yeah, okay, that's cool. So from is going to be a file, so that I can make. Let's just run, oops, pandoc. I don't need to extract media in this particular use case. At least I don't think so. Pandoc is going to be an input file. That's still true. The output is not going to be anything. It's going to be T HTML, and that hopefully is going to let me get the HTML string into the program in theory. Let's see if that works. Right? Well, first of all, let's run it in here. Pandoc test.docx. I don't know why I copied it to a test, just being careful, I guess. Should spit to standard out. Yep. It's exactly what I want. So here I can get I don't know if that's a good name, but we'll run with it for the time being. Oh, I also now need another thing here. Closure.java. I think that's correct. Closure.java.shell refer okay, that worked. Okay, looks good. Okay, so this doc to HTML thing will pull in a file name and it'll run pandoc the input will be fname and it'll run t HTML. That's the whole thing. But then I need to, since it'll return a map with error out and exit keys, I'm just going to assume it'll work successfully for this prototype. I want to pull the out key to get the string, and that should maybe work. So what I should see if I switch this up now to be file name, I don't need to slurp anything. I actually want to run doc to HTML, and I want file name to be a docx. That should do what I want. Let's try. We've got to go now to chmod, make it executable. It worked. That is super cool. Okay, so what's a good thing to do next? I kind of want to get this data structure into my REPL here so I can mess around with it a little bit more interactively than I have now. Let's give me a second here. All right, oops. Okay. Right. What's good? What's good? Okay, yes, so I'm dilly-dallying. Not sure if you noticed that. I'm just taking my time today. I was thinking of clever ways to put this into the REPL, but instead of being clever, I'm going to see if copy-paste will do the trick for me today. We shall find out. I do believe it will. Let's define... is A bound to anything? It's not. Let's just def A as this. Hey. Oh, clear's not what I'm looking for here. All right. Count A. 131 elements. Let's have a look at let's take 6A. Okay, so it looks like there's some easy filters we can apply to things. If there's a tag that's totally empty, like a break line, we don't need that for this purpose at all. So we can, okay, let's do, have a script that will take .docx file name and use pandoc to get HTML string from the file. Use this HTML string using bootleg, parse the HTML string into sequence of hookup elements. Now here, apply various filters to get to clean out useless elements. Useful data extraction. So this is where I don't know exactly how I want to proceed. Find sequence of figure to determine number of figures required. Find all sections as delineated by headlines and paragraphs within headlines. Somehow I need to use this to I want to use this as input into a doc component to help with auto build of some kind. I don't know if that even makes sense anymore. All I'm going to do today is work on a few of these, you know, clean out useless elements and stuff like that. So BR tags can be removed. Okay, so let's do filter. Shoot. State is not saved between those. I have to redef A, and I don't think that's very cool. Oh, there's only one? That doesn't make sense. I'm trying to think what would be. Let's take first of A. If I do into a set, first A. That's not what I was thinking. Tree seek. How does this work again? I used to know how this worked. I'm just trying to think of like easy filters off the top of my head, you know? But since it's a sequence of potentially nested elements, you have to do things recursively sometimes. Let's instead see if there's a clever way to this might need closure core match. I've not used core match a lot. This might be a core match situation though. Let's see if I can figure something out. Come on. Nope, not happening. What did I do? That's not what I meant. There we go. Okay, let's see. Core match interactive tutorial. That sounds potentially useful. Okay, sequence matching. Vector types. Not quite what I'm thinking of. That's cool. Matching maps. Okay, well, so let's pull in match and see what I can get out of this. Maybe I can learn something. Ooh, I might have to restart the whole... Ugh. Bummer. Let's see if there's another REPL that I can cheat with. This one looks good. No, I don't like that. That's silly. Let's see. Closure, core match. I think that works with closure script, right? I hope so. Gotta go here. Assessman, kill. Quit, not kill. Let's quit that one too while I'm at it. Okay. Oop. All right. Let's see here. What does the what does this look like? org.closure / core.match maven. Hopefully that'll work. And right, and now add it to the namespace. Oh, there we go. Closure.core.match refer match. That looks sufficient. to me. Let's see if I can get this thing going again. Hopefully it doesn't totally choke on everything. It should work. I'm just assuming that core match works in ClojureScript. It probably does. As well as ClojureScript. There we go. It says so right in the README. More detailed information here. Oh, closure REPL type. Fig wheel, please. Come on, connect to the browser, please. Ooh. Ah, what? The connection evaporated. So I actually don't know what to do in this situation. So sometimes this happens, and my solution has been to do this. Kill it. And try again. That's literally been the solution. So that's obviously, that doesn't, it's like, have you tried turning it off and on again? You know, it's like, well, I mean, that might fix the immediate concern, but it doesn't tell me anything about what went wrong. So I don't know what the deal is in that case, but it doesn't happen often enough that I think to look into it. But that is purely my own responsibility to figure out my own build, my own workflow, right? So, but see, in this case, right, I just ran it again and now it connected appropriately. It didn't bail on me, which is just strange to me. All right, now swap these around again. Namespace. Let's try get this core match business up and running. Let's see what we can learn with core match. Sounds like fun to me. Okay, let A, B, C be 1, 2, 3. What a great binding. Okay, and so we want to match on the values of A, B, and C. And in the situation where that's not the proper indentation, but that's okay. Let's imagine A is anything, B is 2, and 3. Oops. Come on. Come on. It's whatever, man. I think, so what I expect this to do is print nice. Oh, okay, so let's see. It's not a specificity based thing. It's a whatever matches first situation. Do I have that right? This should print nice, right? Yeah. Okay, but if I make it 1, 2, 4, it's whatever, man. This will be nice. Okay, so let's let A be a paragraph with strong some text. Okay, so the reason I want to try match this is because that's how Pandoc was converting headings and stuff. They weren't using h1 tags. They're just using paragraph with strong tags, which is a little strange, but excuse me, it could work. I could make it work. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. So, well, so let's do else. Nah, bro. Oh, I need to put it in a match, of course. That's silly. Match. How does this work? Is it like a let? Um, I'm not sure. Oh, this is, let's do key A, key B. Comes from A. I'm not sure if this is valid. It looks like it isn't. Okay, I don't understand yet, clearly. All right, let's try to understand what's going on. Okay, so maybe I'm trying to be too clever with how this works. So let's back this up a little bit. Let's make a, well, you know what? Let's call it V for the sake of, you know, following the tutorial a little bit here. It's not a tutorial, more examples. Okay, here. So let's do else. Nah, bro. Okay, good. It works. So let's now add in some match conditions. Okay, so here I want to try do strong, and this can be whatever. Okay, so if it matches that shape, I want to say heading, right? That's the logic here. Oop. Oh, you have to wrap them up. I have to wrap it one more. Okay. I think that's what that's saying to me. Hey, there we go. Okay, so that is helpful. Okay. All right, so let's copy this whole mess again. Oh, clear's not. There we go. Right, so this match, let's turn it into, oh, come on. Not that. Okay, let's define I think this might work. Okay, so it takes a vector in, and then you just match with the structure strong any, and then you return true. If you don't have an else, what does it return, I wonder? Heading? No matching clause. Oh, okay. So you have to put a else. That seems a little bit off from what I should do. I'm trying to make this a predicate function, right? So seems like I'm doing it just a little bit wrong here. I'm not totally sure though. Let's see here. So this is clearly really powerful, and I have to learn how to use it properly, right? I'm just kind of mashing things together, but this could be super useful. There's some special syntax there. Okay. Efficient predicate dispatch. Well, okay, that's a paper, not what I'm looking for right now. You know, I'm gonna roll with this for now, and I can research how to do it more properly later, right? It's not a big deal to put in something and refine it. So using that, let's run it. Heading on an empty, false, also false. If I do this, it's false, but if I do this, whatever, that's true. Okay, so it's working, loosely speaking. So if I take A as this whole list, if I do filter with the predicate heading A, count how many headings there are. There's only 4. That's not correct. So there's more logic that I have to build into this. Bummer. Things are harder than funny how that goes. Things are more difficult than you might think. That always seems to be true. All right, so what I want to find is, actually now might be a good time to open up. This again. Okay, so it found this and a few notes, fabric requirements and cutting instructions, but then here, step 1 is a heading. So let's see what. Okay. Well, let's see what I can do. Maybe I can also do something like this. I can define heading to have different matches. So this type of heading is what? A paragraph with an underline and then any, and that's also true. I just have a feeling that I'm not doing it like the completely clean way, you know? Okay, this is a little bit more promising. So let's just look at the list. Sure. Okay, so yeah, these are all correct. Okay, so that's pretty useful actually. All right, so let's put that in the script anyway. All right. Oops, this is not needing to be closed. Okay, let's get core match in here. Oh, that does work. Okay, good. Closure.core.match refer match. And let's build utils. Here is CLI. Sure. Heading. This is just match v. Ugh, that's annoying. P strong anything. True. P U anything. True. Else false. Not being super clever, but that's better than nothing. And once again, be right back. go. Okay, so what else? What other kind of things are important to pull out from this? The next thing would be, I should look at how to find things that are going to be figures. So the potential trouble with that is can you match strings? I have no idea if this is going to work. Let's match X. Let's try to match on A. Seek. Win. Else. Try again. I think this won't work. Yeah. Oop. If I do A, okay, if I do this, okay, curious. I thought that would work, but it didn't, so we fiddle around. Okay, so I'm misunderstanding how this seek thing works. Oh, maybe it has to be well, maybe wait, if I do vec on a string, what does that do? Oh. Okay, so I don't need to do this. I can treat this like a vector match, same, right? I could do A and whatever, right? Wait, what just happened? What is going on? Oh. Let's do A. Is this gonna work? Hey, that worked. Cool. I don't know if this is like abusing the intent of this. Maybe it is. It might be, this might be a case of me trying to, like, you know, I have a hammer and everything looks like a nail. I'm wondering what I should do. Oh, excuse me. maybe, I don't know. I'm thinking about how to make another predicate that would work here. So let's imagine figure. It's going to take, let's just destructure things right away, right? So it could be key and content. So in this case, right, if I define figure to take in key and content, and let's just return content for now. Oops, I don't want to do it that way. I just want to do it like this, content. Right, if I do figure, let's imagine the paragraph looks like this, figure 1, which is what it will look like. Right, so the content is going to be, in this case, a string. So I could do when string first content string includes, not contains. So if this string not sure if this is a good idea, but it's something to go on. So if the string includes, the string, let's say, is figure, right? But let's imagine it's string slash lowercase of whatever string you pass in. So if it includes the substring figure, true. So let's try that. Let's also change this around a little bit. Let A is first content. When A is a string, you can run this. If A is not a string, you know it's not going to work, so you can just... Oh, could I do a when let, maybe? Wait, how does when let work? There's a lot of stuff I don't know. Closure, when let. See if I can wrap my head around this. When the test is true, evaluates the body with bindings. Okay, when let. I don't understand this. Oh well. Whoop. That's not what I meant to do. Okay. What did I just do? whatever. I'll do this. Okay, so when A is a string, then do thread A through string lowercase string includes the word figure. Okay, let's see if that makes any bit of sense. This should not do anything. It should be nil. And this one should also be nil. Oh, false, right? That makes sense. Ooh, I'm gonna be fine with that for now. If this is the word figure, that's true. Let's see. Filter with figure, the list A. Ooh, of course. That's not gonna be. Wait, what? What just happened? That's weird. A. Filter figure A. It's not undeclared, it exists. Count A. I don't understand why it's doing that, but whatever. Okay. There's a state mix-up, I guess, because of hot code reloading or something. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about that. Count filter figure A. There's going to be too many matches to this because I'm doing string includes figure at any point in there. So any paragraph that uses the word figure at all, even if it's a full long thing, that's not going to be correct. How do you match? Let's do string slash starts with. Yeah, maybe if I change it to starts with. Let's try that. Right, that should filter figure A. Yeah, I'm gonna ignore these undeclared issues because whatever. Okay, 15. So we're closer to what we need here, but something's still a little strange. Oop. Oh yeah, let's do map print line. Ooh, horrible, horrible. Onto this list. What just happened? Map print line. Good enough. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Let's just see that that actually corresponds. The last figure Yeah, 15. Okay, that is working. Right? Count filter figure A. Yeah, 15. Okay, so using that, I can get lists of useful things. Now, what do I want to do with that, right? That's the next question. You can partition by, right? Partition. What is, come on. Getting a little frustrated. Gotta probably stop soon. There we go. Partition by takes a function and a collection. So if I make that, let's try partition by heading, the list A. That's hard to read. Okay, so first is that. Let's take second. Nth. 2. Count filter heading A. Okay, so there's 18. So what I was trying to do there, I don't know why it didn't work, but it didn't. So I have a sequence of all the paragraphs. So every little bit that's in here, right? What I'm thinking about is if there's an easy way to partition each of those off by, okay, so you have the heading and then you have all the things within that area and then you chunk that away when you hit the next heading. So I thought partition by heading would work, but it doesn't seem to be working the way I expected, which is fine. I just maybe have to try something else. I don't think this will actually change the result at all, but I'm just curious about it. Let's count that. Yeah, that didn't make a difference, really. Wait a second. 18 times 2 is going to be 36, right? Right? I'm being really silly now. Yeah. Oh, okay. So maybe, okay, maybe this is, maybe this actually is going to work. So if I do, let's thread A through partition by, thread last, I guess. Okay, so I want to partition by heading A. Then I have things that are a heading and then things that aren't a heading. And then I want to partition that Yeah, I want to partition that by the result of that by 2. So what I'm thinking is it's now a sequence where so it's a heading and then everything that's not a heading, and then a heading and then everything that's not a heading. So if I partition that by 2, I'll have pairs of headings and its subgroups. And then all I can do is map concat onto that. And this should, if I get that and count this, it should give me 18. Yeah. Okay, so let's do, instead of count, let's take the first off of that. Yeah. So first now has the heading, and then the 2 paragraphs under it, like this and this. Okay, so that's the section. So if I take second off of this thing, it should be the thing, a few notes, and then these 3 things. So here's I think, let's have a look here. Nth. Okay, so there's something a little weird in that second one, but I'm gonna take this and write a little function for it, so I at least have that logic built into something. Is segment a function already? Okay, so I'm gonna call it segment. Hey, Cobradre, sorry if I got your name wrong there. Is this C? No, it is not C. It's Clojure. Here, let me. It's a Lisp language. Not sure if you're familiar with the name Clojure at all. Oh, if only my internet worked there. CLOJURE. It's a Lisp language that runs on, well, so by default it runs on the JVM, the Java Virtual Machine. But there's a version of Clojure called Clojure Script that transpiles to JavaScript. There's a lot of different places where Clojure runs. Are you familiar with Clojure at all? Am I using Linux? I have never heard of Clojure. So it's spelt just if you're gonna Google it, Google CLOJURE like this. Yeah. If you're gonna Google it, because Clojure, CLOSURE, refers to a Google JavaScript compiler. It's a whole different thing. But am I using Linux? This is actually Mac OS. The next computer I'm building soon is going to be a Linux build. I prefer Linux to Mac OS personally, but yeah, right now this is Mac OS. What, Linux? That's a good question. I'm not sure yet. So I've used Debian on a few VPS servers before. It's nice and stable, nice and easy. I was thinking it might be fun to mess around with Arch Linux, but I haven't honestly given it much thought yet. So it's probably between some kind of Debian-based distro or an Arch distro. Those are the two kind of thoughts in my mind. But the nice thing is it's kind of fun to switch around every once in a while, you know? You're thinking Arch, but you feel it's too complex? Oh, yeah? So I've not actually... Oh, that's not entirely true. I have an old laptop that I installed Manjaro on, and Manjaro is based on Arch Linux, so it's effectively Arch with certain window managers installed, but anyway. And I didn't mess around with it a ton. I had a little bit of confusion, but like with the package manager and stuff like that, but I felt I could manage it, you know? Ubuntu and Manjaro, no idea which to pick between the two. Well, so I mean, if you're looking for an opinion, they're both totally fine in my opinion. But if you found Arch to be a little too complex, Manjaro is based on Arch, so you know you're gonna be facing similar issues, maybe. So keep that in mind, right? But you can't go wrong with Ubuntu. Not everyone likes Ubuntu for the various choices the company or the group, whatever it is, have made, but you can't go wrong. You know, if it's your first or you wanting to just kind of get into Linux a little more, Ubuntu is probably a really good choice. There's a lot of user questions and answers available online, so that's probably a safe recommendation. You've seen videos of Arch and it's all code. Yeah, it can look that way for sure. And yeah, so Arch is kind of the appeal that some people like about Arch is you can make your own choices about installing different parts of the OS. So if that's not where you want to head, start with something a little more thoroughly built up, right? You want to start with Ubuntu and end up in Arch. If you know C, it's really beneficial. Yeah, that could be the case. So when it comes to Arch, knowing C is useful because you'll feel a little more comfortable with the mindset that the Arch community has a lot of the time is to download the source code, and then make the binary on your own computer from source. So you're downloading usually C code, you're running a build command on your own computer and your own installation. So it's a few manual steps, but the mindset with Arch is instead of downloading a program that some other computer compiled, download the code, compile it yourself, and run that. So the idea there is you can, before you compile things, you can mess around with the code, you can change some header files, you can tweak a few little configurations, then compile it, and you've got a nice snappy binary that you can trust that you built it on your computer, you can trust that you changed it to your needs specifically, and you can pick where to install it. So the idea for Arch is the user has to know how to do it, but the user has a lot of control, and that's why knowing C would be beneficial. It's not strictly speaking necessary. The nice thing about Arch is that it's got the AUR, and it has pretty good installation instructions for a lot of packages. So you will learn how to do this stuff with practice, right? But knowing C is helpful for that kind of stuff. Sounds like a lot of research. Yeah, so if that's I would recommend if you're fairly new to Linux related stuff in general, Ubuntu is probably your safer option. And that's not like Ubuntu is not worse or anything, but there's a lot of content on the internet that is explained for beginners. There's a lot of stuff built into Ubuntu right away that takes away some of the confusion. You can get things installed and running nice and quickly. It's probably a good option. The nice thing about Linux distributions is you haven't paid for Ubuntu. You don't have to pay for Arch. You can dual boot. You can uninstall Ubuntu, install Arch whenever you feel comfortable, right? Like you make a choice now and later on you can change it. It isn't a big deal. It's more newcomer friendly, fully customizable. Yeah, so I've not customized Ubuntu a lot myself, but it's definitely a good choice. And there's a lot of customization you can do for sure. Yeah. Yeah, so again, you do what you want completely, right? It's totally up to you, but it sounds to me like probably Ubuntu would be the right way to go. Can't really go wrong. Because you can always change your mind later, right? Once you know a thing or two about compiling your own source code and all that kind of stuff, maybe you find, oh man, Arch Linux would be really neat. But no need to rush into it, right? No need at all. What program editor will I use? So I'm using what's called Emacs right now. So these windows here. You were thinking Vim? I use Vim occasionally. The reason I use Emacs a lot is a lot of Lisp languages, they default to Emacs. Vim's really good. Both Emacs and Vim have a bit of a learning curve. They're not super easy up front. Yeah, Vim is a little hard to learn if you're just getting into it. There's another one, VS Code is a really good, it's a really popular modern coding. It's a code editor. Visual Studio Code. Yeah, so not Visual Studio, but Visual Studio Code. Yeah, you use it for some HTML already. Yeah, so I'm quite certain that you can install VS Code on Ubuntu. So you can't go wrong with that either. It's really like, don't feel pressure to learn Vim or Emacs or whatever because people think it's cool or think it's important to know. Pick an editor that you're comfortable with and that has the functionality you want, and use that. Don't let stuff get in your way. This is my opinion, of course. And if you've got a little weekend that you want to spend some time, go ahead and learn Vim. You can't, it's totally fine, right? So Vim is different. It's got insert mode and edit mode and all kinds of, it's a little different. I don't know it that well, but this is Vim, edit mode, or insert mode. So if I hit escape now, I'm pressing keys and it's not typing. So that you have to switch. So right now I'm in navigate mode, basically. And so I want to do, if I do DD, it deletes the whole line. Insert, new lines. This is another line. Blah, blah, blah. Escape. Up, down, left and right. And let's do DD. Deletes that line. DD, DD. Right. And quit without saving. Whoops. Quit. There. Anyway. Yeah, Vim is mad weird. It takes a bit of getting used to. If you've been using stuff like VS Code and that's the mode of editors that you're really used to, Vim is a new way of thinking. It takes some time. I'm not that good in it. I don't use it that much, but it is fun to use and it's pretty cool. But don't feel, if people are like, oh yeah, all good programmers use Vim, that isn't true. Don't feel worried about needing to know it. It's not that important. With VS Code, it completes half the sentences for you. Yeah, there's a lot of code completion stuff. So you can get your Emacs and your Vim stuff to do all of that too. They're powerful programs. You can do a lot, but so the way I was doing Vim here, I don't have it configured with all kinds of packages. So there's I was running it in my terminal. Oh, I don't have it. Never mind. There's different add-ons you can add to Vim and Emacs to give a lot of functionality like that stuff. But again, it's like, okay, so Arch Linux, you have to research and be comfortable with building source code yourself. In Vim and Emacs, you have to be comfortable configuring your Vim files and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of power, but you have to do a lot of the work yourself. So that is another, Ubuntu with Visual Studio Code is going to be a really good programming platform if you're looking for a new platform, right? All right, I have to go soon-ish, but I wanted to finish this segment code here for a moment. Can see why all the hardcore people use Vim and Arch. Yeah. There's a certain appeal to it, right? It kind of makes you feel like you're a hacker type, you know how to use your computer so well that you don't even need to see anything on the screen. And but it is truly powerful. If you can learn a lot of the stuff, it can be really helpful, but you don't need to. Don't feel any pressure is my advice related to that stuff. Do you know any programming languages yourself? Do you use JavaScript and stuff like that? Time to start studying C? Go for it. Go for it if you want to. A lot of people now are studying Rust as like a modern C language, right? A similar C language. All right, segment. So segment is going to take a sequence of vectors where the vectors are Hiccup data structures, and then it's going to do, what's it going to do? It's going to do this basically. So let's take a thread last macro. We'll run S through all this, partition by the predicate heading, then partition that result with 2, and then map concatenate onto all of that. And that should do the trick. Oops. So that's a start there. I could actually, maybe I should put it into a map data structure. So you're in first year of college studying Java. On the side, you want to learn Python and C. Well, that sounds like fun. I never learned Java myself. I use the Java virtual machine, but I use it via Clojure, so I don't know Java all that well. I studied mechanical engineering, and I remember having to learn C for one class. Everything else, I taught myself Python, not to be an expert, but I know it well enough that I could do scripting with it. And then I taught myself Clojure, and that's I love Clojure. But you cannot go wrong learning Python, learning Java, learning C. It's all going to be helpful for learning a lot of useful concepts. So sounds pretty cool. All you know is print hello world in Python. Oh, you'll learn soon enough, I'm sure. Let's see what I can remember from Python. It's been a while. Let's launch a Python REPL here. Okay, so this is Python. Right, so like you say, print hello world. Boom, there we go. Okay, let's do 2 times 2. Hey, there we go. Let's see. Import. Boom, I'm done. Oh, I used to know stuff in Python, but it's been a while. Def A2. Oh. A equals 2? Nope. Man, I can't remember anything. It's been a while. One thing about programming in general that, oh, you need a return. Yeah, see, the funny, like, I'm so used to, if I do something in Clojure, right, if I define a function that's hello, it takes an argument x, and you just do hello x, and this form here, this string hello x, since it's the last thing that runs inside the function, it's the thing that gets returned kind of on an implicit sort of basis. So I'm forgetting things all the time. If I want to just make a variable, that's what I was mixing things up. So define a function is this. If I want to make a variable, if I want to bind a variable to a symbol, I have to do this in Clojure. I need to do def. So that's what I was mixing up. Don't understand what defining a function means. We don't have that in Java. We name variables like string, int, boolean. So what you're referring to, so string, int, and boolean is, those are types. So in general, it's true in pretty much every programming language. Let's see here, Java function definition. I'm pretty sure they might be called methods in Java, if you're familiar with that term. Public class main, static void foo. So you're talking about this here. Your arguments have int and string and stuff like that. Those are type annotations. Right, so functions and methods, they're not necessarily the same, but you can kind of think of them similarly. So functions don't need to be put into classes or anything. You can just define a function and then run it directly. You don't necessarily need it to be connected to an object of any kind. So you can make a function that takes two numbers and multiplies them together and just leave it at that. So this function is inside the class main here. So if you imagine this exists without main there, this is just your function, right? Does that make sense? What is def? Oh, you actually get it? So def so let's ignore my closure stuff for a moment. Def in Python is effectively this part here, foo. Right? So it would be, instead of saying public static void, you just say def foo, and then there's your function, right? I don't know. So I'm not an expert in these languages, by the way, so hopefully that's a little bit helpful. Did that help? That makes sense? Okay. I'm glad to hear it. I am glad I can be a little bit helpful. That's good to know. It's like creating a class. Let's see, is that I want to think if that's true. It's like you don't need to put it into a class, if that makes sense. You can just have it can just exist globally, and then you can run it without specifically needing to pull a class or have an object attached to it. So yeah, it's kind of like that. I want to be careful. I don't want to say things that aren't true just because it's been a while since I've used Python and I've never used Java. So I'm just going on kind of loose understanding. So please, 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 if you need to learn Java and Python and stuff like that, experiment and read for yourself as well. That is definitely a great way to do it. Def area of a square, for example. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's actually not a bad idea. Let's see if I can do that. Do you mind if I do it in the editor here? I only have time to give one quick example. Let's see if I can do something. I got to go soon, so I hope you're okay with that. Let's see if I remember enough how to do this. So let's def area of, let's do square area. Let's call it that. And it's going to take, come on. It's going to take, well, let's do rectangle area. It's a little cooler. It's going to take a width and a height. Okay. Then you want to do return width times height. I think this is right. We'll find out soon. And now let's try to run this. Let's do rectangle area with 10 and 2. Let's see if this will actually work. Ooh. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Right, so let's have a quick, I'll quickly explain what I've just done, okay? So this here, def rect area, this is a function, right? So this is Python, right? Just so you're, hopefully you're keeping track here. Ignore this line for now here. Just pretend that doesn't exist for the time being, okay? I have defined a function called rectangle area, okay? You get it? Cool. Rectangle area is the name of the function. The function itself, bar the double return. I'll get to that in just a moment, okay? This function here, the arguments are width and height, WH. In Python, I do not specify, I don't give it any type hinting, right? If it were Java, you would expect to see something like this, int width, int height. You might, I think maybe you can hint things in Python like that, but I don't think you need to. Right? So you can imagine you don't need to say these are going to be integers. You can just assume that the user will put integers in. So, okay, it's called dynamic typing. Maybe that's a problem sometimes, but it can be fine. And the return, I could write this slightly differently. I could do, I could say result is equal to width times height, and then I can return result. So another slight difference here, if this were a Java or C type language, you might see these curly braces like this, and each line has a semicolon or something like that, right? Yeah, so here, these curly braces here, Python doesn't use those to detect or to find what's inside a function. So Python uses indentation to specify which parts are in a function. For example, if I write another line down here, let's let ASDF equal a string. You see how these two lines are indented, but this line here is not indented, right? These indented things, this means it's all part of the define here. This one is not inside that function. So indentation is important in Python. You don't use curly braces, but you use indentation to specify things, right? Let's see what your question is there. For the last line, can you do print result but pass in the input? I'm not sure. Let's see if I run print. I'm going to print something. I just want to see if this actually works here. Oops. Oh, what have I done? Oh, I forgot the colon there. Sorry. It's not. Oh, okay. So why is that? Let's try it. Okay. Okay, so did I say indentation is important? Yes, it is important. So if I were to write what's it? So in Java, very quickly here, in Java, let's imagine that I typed this all properly, right? In Java, you're writing a method and you have an open curly brace, and at the end of the method, you have a closed curly brace, right? Which indicates that everything inside those braces is the code that makes the method, right? In Python, you do not use these braces at all. It's like this. You say this line is saying, hey Python, I want to make a function named rectangle area. Then the next line is, it has to be indented, and then Python will read that everything indented is part of the function definition. If I do this, if I take this indentation away, this is not going to work. As far as I know, it should return an error. Invalid syntax. Oh, that's this. Okay, see? Name result is not defined. So what happened here, this is equivalent, like if I had, see, imagine if I had the braces here, right? You see how return is outside of those? Yeah, if it's not indented, if you unindent something, it's like it's outside of the braces, and then it's not part of the function, right? So for it to be part of the function, you have to indent it. That's the rule. And if you read some Python tutorials, they can explain it better than that. Finally, the last return here, the return outside of this is related to how my Emacs is set up. So don't worry about this return, okay? Just if you were to run this function in your own Python REPL or something like that, it would print out a result for you, which is what I've done here. So if this return at the bottom is confusing you, just ignore it, okay? That is only for me to print a result into my Emacs setup. I hope that's helpful for you. Boom, you got it. Delete it. I'm gonna get rid of this. And I do hope that that's been helpful. I still do recommend, when you have some time, it was super helpful. Oh, that's fantastic. I'm glad I could help. That's great. Do some of your own reading and research, and try some stuff out on your own computer if you have the time. Definitely the best way to start learning programming is to try it out yourself, read some things, ask some questions on forums and stuff. I mean, doing what you've just done here is useful, but try stuff out yourself. You'll learn. You might get a little frustrated, but you'll learn what works and what doesn't. And it feels really nice when you learn how to make stuff work on your own, you know? You have a PDF file, can't be focused for a long time, so you came here. Yeah. So I don't know, if you can manage to get a physical copy of a book, that helps me, because then I read away from my computer. Because computers are super powerful, but they are the ultimate distraction device, right? But, give yourself some time, give yourself some focus. You'll get there. I guarantee it. And thanks for coming in and asking questions. That's always fun. Found yourself staring at the wall? Yeah, some days are just like that. What can I say? For myself, when I was in school, I always found it best to do a lot of heavy reading in the mornings. Yeah, if you had the money, you'd get the book. Yeah, no pressure, of course. It's no worries, right? Whatever you can do. Doing that stuff in the morning is usually a bit helpful. Doing it, if you can get out of your own place, like to a coffee shop or a library or something like that, that's always helpful too. The morning? Do you know, is English? Oh, you hate it in the morning. I see. Sorry. I misunderstood what you were asking. You hate it in the morning. Fair enough. It's just when I like to do focused work, that's all. But hey, yeah, don't let me tell you how to do your studying, right? It's all you know yourself and how you work better than I know you, right? So focus can be hard, but it is an important skill to learn. So you gotta practice it, you know? Your mom said the same thing. Morning is when you learn best. Feel like your brain is still asleep. Yeah, so instead of in the morning, imagine it like this. whatever time of day where you feel awake and you feel kind of energized, maybe that's at 1 p.m. I don't know when it is for you, but whenever that time is where you feel like, oh yeah, I don't feel super sleepy anymore, boom, that's the time where the focus is going to be really nice and high. And that might be different for everyone. It works for me in the morning because I've managed to run into a regular schedule. When you're studying in school, it might be harder to get a normal schedule, but yeah, it can be hard to find it. You wake up at 6, you've got class at 9. Online, you still feel it's too early. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Maybe you need to go to bed earlier, or maybe you need to sleep in more, get some more sleep somehow. I don't know. And I want to be really careful, right? Like, don't take what I'm saying as you have to do things this way. These are just things I've tried and done over the years, right? Give it some time. You'll figure those things out. But you delete all your social media and games to focus more on coding. That's a drastic approach, but it's a good one. If you get rid of those things, you've got way less distraction. So it's a smart move. You'll get there. You had to, yeah. Yeah, I understand that. I get it. Okay. You're wasting 6 hours gaming. Yeah. Well, so, when you could be learning some Python, to be fair to the world at the moment, we've got a global situation happening. Everyone's kind of stuck at home a little more. Maybe stress is a little higher. So being distracted is normal, right? So don't feel bad about that. But it's, if you notice some distractions and you're making steps towards it, that's something to be proud of, I think. Let's see. Okay, so I can answer this one more question, and then I do have to get going. So I hope that's okay. So any tips on studying in the morning? It's just do it, but there has to be a trick. My honest opinion is that there's no quote unquote trick, right? The reality of how human brains work is like this. When you are really tired, you will not be able to think as quickly. It'll be harder to understand things. You'll be able to make connections, but it'll be a little bit slower than if you were fully rested. So studying when you're really, really tired is not worth the trouble. It's usually better to go to sleep or take a nap or do something else. Where something else is, say, some exercise, going on a walk, reading a book that you enjoy, something that still takes a bit of focus but isn't stressful to you. So whatever you can do to get more comfortable sleep, maybe a little longer, maybe not, but a little bit more consistent. So if you drink coffee, stop drinking coffee around 2 p.m. usually. Try to go to bed at around the same time every night. Try to wake up around the same time every morning. Don't stress overly too much about it. Once those habits are in place, I promise you will find studying a little bit easier. The other things you can start to do, let's imagine you said as a rule in your head, okay, I want to be starting to study by 7:30 every day. Let's imagine that. I would recommend at 7:15 you get up, walk around your room a little bit, you turn off your phone and computers or whatever, you clean your desk a little bit, you get your pen and paper and you put it down on the desk. All I'm saying is you just do a silly little routine to get your brain and body into this mindset of studying, right? And it's not magic. It's just fake prepare for studying. Yeah, you could kind of think of it like that. It's more like, so when I was working in an office, I would wake up, I'd go on my morning run, I'd get ready for the day, I'd hop in my car and do my commute. That whole time I'd be thinking about whatever. I might be listening to a podcast, listening to some music. I might be really, really grumpy. But when I commute, the commute is a consistent amount of time, and my brain triggers and thinks, oh, I got to start switching into work mode a little bit. I might still be grumpy, but my brain understands that when I'm in the car commuting, that I have to switch into a sort of work mindset, right? You can kind of get your brain over time to get used to that sort of stuff when it comes to studying as well. If before you study, you always spend 5 minutes cleaning your desk, right? Then anytime you clean your desk, you'll start to feel a little bit calm and ready to go into a focus mode. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. It's not a bullet, it's not a magic, there's nothing magical about it, right? It's just, it's, the human brain is a little weird machine, right? It's like auto instinct. Yeah, it's a little bit like that. And it's not going to make studying easy, right? But it is going to put you in a mindset where it's like, okay, my brain is ready for a little bit of focus, a little bit of hard work, but it's worth it, right? If you enjoy programming, especially, it's not always going to be easy. It's not even always going to be fun. But if you get your head into that study mindset, you can say, okay, it doesn't have to be fun. This is part of what I want to do. This is important for me getting better at the craft of programming. If you think those things as you're about to study, over time it'll get a little bit easier. I cannot stress enough, though, that that doesn't make things magically perfect, right? Like you will have to put in effort. There's no way around it. But you should be proud of putting in effort. That's an important thing. Effort is good. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. And late over where you are at, talk later. All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in and thanks for asking questions. It was really fun to help you. Oh, by the way, you followed 13 minutes ago. Thank you for that. I didn't see that at the time. And yeah, you'll be back. Cool, man. Or I said man, I don't mean that. I don't want to assume anything. I don't know you. Cool, friend. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I do have to get going. You're a demigod. You'll allow it. Perfect. I'm cool with it. All right. Hey, best of luck. Maybe I'll see you around, and have a good one, okay? I do have to get going. Good luck, and see you later. Peace out.